regular meeting of the Rushford-Peterson School Board on Monday, June 18, 2018, in Rushford-Peterson Forum Room, to order at 5:31 p.m. And then we have the roll call.
Valerie Howe.
Here.
Joyce Iverson.
Here.
Julie Cope. John Linder. Dean Miro.
Here.
John Pettit.
Here.
Bonnie Princeton.
Here. Let's stand to recite the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item number 4, we have a few additions to the agenda. Mayhem payables, wires, and payroll liabilities in the amount of $293,150.29. June war bills amount in $315,190.03. And then under F, personnel, the hire of Sydney Huntley, kindergarten teacher. And under old business, 7C, trap shooting discussion, 7D, update on sidewalk votes, and 7E, school nurse, school health policies discussion. Do we have a motion?
During those discussion
Sure.
before, so it'd be 6F for personnel. I think at some point, I think we should consider doing exit interviews to see why these people are leaving.
Okay?
We're going to go through a committee process and a hiring process when we bring them in. I think it'd be just as important to see why they're leaving. That's all.
As far as the jobs that are about the agenda, I believe I asked for the school nurse position to be on the agenda. If it's there, I missed it.
Yeah, she did.
That's one of the additions.
Sorry.
Yeah. under
When
old
did they
business.
come?
Yes. Yeah, thanks for bringing that up.
Did that come from Laura or when did it come?
There's a document. Do you have a document in front of you there?
Just tonight.
Yes.
That's what we said.
Is there a motion to adopt the agenda with the additions?
Mayor will make that motion.
And a second?
Oh, sorry. That was reading.
Okay, there's been a motion to adopt the agenda with the additions stated by Merrill and seconded by Princeton. Is there any additional discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
And opposed? Thank you. Do we have some public comments?
Please allow me to introduce Lisa Meyer Schutte, from Houston. She's here in the event that we have any questions or concerns in regards to the agreement between Rushford-Peterson and Houston as far as the track program is concerned. So,
Updated the co-op as I emailed all that information.
so she just wants to be on reserve in case you have questions or concerns. But I also feel it's appropriate at this time just to take a moment for me to acknowledge and thank Julie Cope. Julie's not here right now, and hopefully she will be joining us later, but just wanted to take the opportunity to thank her and extend our thanks and appreciation on behalf of the board, as well as our community for her years of service here. As you know, tonight was scheduled to be her last meeting with us. So again, my thanks and appreciation for Julie for her years of service and commitment to the RP School District.
Okay, we have consent agenda items. The May 21, 2018 regular monthly minutes. Donations in the amount of $3,087.40 Mayhem Payables, Wires, and Payroll Liabilities for $293,150.29. May payroll in the amount of $282,986.61. June board bills in the amount of $315,190.03. And then personnel items, resignation of Tracy Cleaton Lind, second grade teacher and special ed. Resignation of Melissa Duran, elementary special ed teacher. Resignation of Gary Wade, middle school girls basketball coach. Hire of Meredith Johnson, fourth grade teacher and knowledgeable advisor. Hire of Jonathan Toyer, fourth grade teacher. Hire of Tracy Abramson, early childhood special education teacher. Hire of Hannah Rip, third grade teacher. And hire of Sydney Huntley, kindergarten teacher. And I'd just like to express appreciation for receiving copies of those resumes. That was helpful.
You're welcome.
I'll echo that.
Is there a motion on the consent agenda?
And did you mention the F, the addition to?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And was that added just because?
I'm sorry, I did not mention 7C. Those items include.
No,
Oh, that's old business.
That's old business.
That's
You're okay.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Just a question, there's some bills here, are we still paying on the construction of the new school? Is that still not finalized?
That is not finalized yet. Our goal is to have that to you in August.
August,
Okay.
Then this, Clean Schmidt survey, is that for the field?
It's for the athletic.
For the field
Correct,
itself?
yeah.
Okay. I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second by Merrill.
The motion was made and seconded, or made by Valerie Howell and seconded by Dee Merrill to approve the consent agenda. Is there any further discussion? If not, we'll ask for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Right now we're at old business. Item A is to approve the second reading and adopt the following policies. Number 509, enrollment of non-resident students. Number 510, school activities. Number 512, school-sponsored student publications and activities. Number 513, student promotion, retention, and program design. Number 517, student recruiting. Number 518, DNR, DNI orders. Number 519, interviews of students by outside agencies. Is there a motion to approve the second reading of these policies?
Second by Merrill.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of the motion, motion by Princeton, seconded by Miro to approve the second reading and adopt the following policies. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We move on to old business B. Approve the contract with Bernard Bus Service to equip all school buses with cameras. And I'll turn this over to Mr. Hill.
Thank you. I met with Mike, and initially his overall cost was just under $10,000 for equipping the buses, and he agreed to meet us halfway with us, so our cost for equipping all the buses with cameras is $5,000. Please keep in mind that in the event that we would change transportation providers, the cameras go with Bernard Busing. So, on that note, I would recommend that we move forward with the purchase of those cameras.
Would someone like to make a motion to that effect?
Merrill will make the motion.
Anyone?
Second.
Second by Mr. Pettit. Any further discussion about any? If none, a motion has been made by Merrill, seconded by Pettit, to approve the contract with Bernard Bus Service to equip all school buses with cameras at our cost of $5,000, a total of $97.98. Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? New business A and B, approve revisions to the 2017-20...
We need to go to 7C. And that is an update on a concern about the trap shooting team.
Okay.
So, in your packet tonight, board members, you'll find an update on the last 3 years of cost. In addition, this year, the trap team was successful in securing a quote from the Booster Club, or I shouldn't say a quote, support from the Booster Club to support their recent trip to Alexandria. And so you can see that we are operating in the red this year to the tune of about $4,500. I'm not looking for a motion from you tonight, but I'm following up a concern that you received in an email. I ensured that all board members received the email. Initially, not all board members received it, so I made sure that everybody was included in it in my response today. In addition to that, attached to the overview of the costs associated with the program, we took the liberty to gather some information about various school districts throughout the state of Minnesota so that you would have some comparison as far as who and what is doing what as far as support for the various trap team. The unfortunate thing for us is that our trap team continues to be compared to an athletic team that qualifies for the state. And the confusion around this whole issue is that the event that they went to Alexandria is not a state-sanctioned event. It is put on by the Minnesota State Target League, and it is for teams that want to go up and shoot as a team. The team can qualify to go on to state, which is the end of this month. Please bear in mind that a member of the trap team can qualify in 2 ways. They can do it during the regular season by having a high enough score, and they would then qualify for the state, of which we have 1 this year. And Quentin Douglas qualified. In addition to that, he also qualified for the Nationals, which are in Michigan this year. We will support his efforts at the state trap shoot. The confusing thing is that is it a state event or isn't it a state event? And what even gets more confusing for school districts, it is not state sanctioned. So we have kept it in the category of club status. So again, I provided you this information so you have time to reflect on it. I would be happy to entertain any questions, concerns you have this evening, and would ask that this be an agenda item for next month. I will also inform the board that we did bring a recommendation to you to hire and pay for the coaches back in January, and as a board, you chose not to move forward with this at this time. So just acknowledging the fact that it was discussed by you as a board. You made a decision then. We're respectful of your decision, and we'll be happy to provide any additional information, answer any questions or concerns you have.
How does that choosing, how are they when they go to state, how is
True to as in the track. they're supported as if they make it to state.
Are they state sanctioned?
It is, yes.
It's not a Minnesota State, it's Minnesota State High School League contest, but it's not the Minnesota State High School League event. So I guess yes and no to that. And I know, just to clarify some of this terminology, when you say state, specifically the Minnesota State High School League, in terms of, they're in a unique position. A number of us ADs, as well as a number of our track team coaches around the area, are kind of confused in why the State High School League wants to sponsor a tournament, but yet they don't want to sponsor the season that leads up to the tournament. So they want to kind of dip their foot in, but not take on the full burden of it. Go round and round, but that's the position that State High School League has taken, is the season, the regular season, including the Alexandria Shoot, is not a part of the Minnesota State High School League sanctioned activity or a program. Yet they do sponsor a tournament on June 22nd, which is the necessity to qualify to that, to participate in that. So they put their label on the end one, but not on the process to get there.
Okay.
So
Is what you just mentioned, Chuck, is that communicated back to the member or the individual that sent the letter?
Correct.
I have a question. Have you heard other, have you had other complaints or communications from other people other than the one email that?
Have not, no. And we try to be very consistent to what we've done since I've been involved in day one. We're actively involved with the track shooting team. We assist them with fundraising by sending out letters, following up those letters, assist them in any way we can, and by encouraging them to participate in working the concession stands so that they can offset some of the cost. One of the recommendations I would have is that based on our costs that we have accumulated over the years, particularly the last 3 years, I think are significant, that we would be able to put something in writing, some guidelines to say, if a student isn't expressed an interest in it, here's what the costs are going to be up front, here's what the district is going to provide, and making sure that everything is black and white going forward, because we get into these areas and then we get thrown under the bus come the spring of the year because we won't sponsor them on this trip to Alexandria. So I refuse to go down that path again. So we will get it spelled out for them. And again, our policy has been, we've been very consistent to what we have provided for them.
Well, it doesn't sound like there's a groundswell of discontent if it was one email, so I think you've answered the concerns.
Okay? We need to go to 7D.
Just one more comment. Okay. I thought I looked at Ms. Lostum's report last month, and I thought it had gun training as one of the activities that
They sponsor
that
classes
sponsored through community ed.
called Conceal and Carry.
And then, do they also do the other one, or does the Sportsman's Club do the other?
Gun
training?
safety?
Gun safety.
It's another course that they're required to take prior to participation in the track team.
And that's taught by members of the gun club and
Other organizations.
Sportsman's Club.
Sportsman's Club, hardwood.
Correct. Yep.
And would it be that far-fetched to ask our community ed director to make this a part of community ed and run it through that program? It would just make sense to me. It's okay. There are so many people involved in it that are not on staff and that are volunteers and those types of things. I think it would be a much better place than where we have it.
Take that under consideration, and we'll ask you to, I'll include that as a part of my update for old business at next month's board meeting.
Right, moving on to 7D, update on the sidewalk plans.
Yes, I held off on that because we were waiting for feedback from the DNR in regards to a trails grant that we submitted with the city, and we received confirmation late this afternoon. The grant was not appealed or not approved. And so based on that, then next month I'll be able to come with you with firm quotes as to the cost involved in running the sidewalk from where it ends on our property adjacent to Higley Field and then all the way along Pine Meadows Lane. It will be a 6-foot wide sidewalk with 5-inch depth and will run from the curb line out. So we will run it adjacent to the street. And the reason for that is so that when the city plows Pine Meadows Lane, we can push it off without there being a median in between, which causes more issues for us going down the road. So I'll add that for you next month. And I'll just lead right into item number E on the school nurse and medication policies and all the health policies update. I have reached out to Dana Thompson and have not heard back, so we'll hopefully have something more for you concrete next month as well.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
You're welcome.
Move on to item 8C, approve the 2017-2019 contract for Lisa Lawson. Oh,
Did you want to go with 8A, please? Okay. No, Tony has put together the revisions for the 2017-18 budget, so.
Okay, so these are the only little papers I have. In my office, I have stacks. So particular questions, if they come up, I'll write them down and we can email you and talk to you about them too. Or anytime during the year or two, if you have a question, shoot me an email and just see what I got for you. There's two parts, but we're gonna start with the 17-18 adopted budget. So the top part is what we adopted last June is the top part, 17-18 adopted budget. So below is the 17-18 revised budget. So we're almost done with the year. As it went on, things changed. Our budget, we like it. I don't like it to be as fluid as it is, but it just is. Revenues change. We get donations. Revenues change again. Got an email from the state today about a revenue change. So it is. It's really fluid. So we kind of do a revision every year until it's final. We have been getting our final financial statements in November or December the past few years. So we'll still go over it again. But just taking a look, I think I'm gonna do the general fund last because there's so much to talk about. But the food service fund, we did have a decrease in revenue. I'm kind of forecasting a decrease in revenue in the food service fund, but also a decrease in expenditures as well. Our expenditures were able to decrease, due to the one site. We were able to reduce some staff, and then we just had one site. They reduced staff again partway through the year, and it still worked out okay. So we should be able to keep our expenditures down there. The revenue's down as well. Mostly, we did have an enrollment shift. We had a kind of big senior class, so we kind of expect to be down a little, probably not quite as much. But I know that after the kitchen staff's been in there a year, I think they're gonna maybe try and look at some different things and maybe look for ways to increase their revenue, offer more choices, that they have quite a nice facility to use and do some different things there. So, instead of forecasting, kind of basically a break even, we're probably going to lose close to $9,000 in the food service fund this year, which we have held that fund balance for years. That $75,000, we pretty much broke even all the time for many, many years. I don't remember a year where we lost money. So, that's the fund balance is there, and actually the state doesn't really want you to build up that fund balance either. So, community ed. So we always do struggle. Community ed always does struggle keeping a positive fund balance. But their programs, the actual programs that they operate, especially preschool, isn't gonna make them. And I know the board's committed, in the past, has been committed to keeping that preschool running and open for all kids. Community director, we can get a Pathways grant, and I know this year we allocated more of that Pathways grant for kids for tuition, so we saw a little bit more of a decrease in our revenues because we didn't really supplement our revenues, we kind of replaced our revenues a little bit this year with that grant. So, and also with preschool, we added a whole class that they didn't have before, and just kind of moved things around last summer with how preschool operates. That's why, and I think you're aware, I hope you were, that we figured that that was going to change, that we're forecasting about $18,000 loss in community ed, but it's 76. But 50,000 of that can be attributed to preschool. So, and there's a note there on the bottom of the sheet on how much is attributed to preschool. Now there's some things we probably need to look at there. Lisa and I need to sit down and think of ways that we can better utilize our staff, or maybe use some funding. I know that you could use compensatory aid in the general fund towards preschool, so there are some things we can do. I know other districts every year they just supplement their community ed fund every year anyway. So I mean, a loss in the community ed fund is not going and doing all the time, but it also doesn't mean we shouldn't take a look at our costs and stuff there too. Any questions or? The second page, we'll go to the second page on that, because then I have the capital projects fund and the debt service fund separate. Really not much there. The debt service fund, especially, we get our tax revenue and we pay our debt. That's truly all that's there. Just a small revision in the expenditures. The fund balance there on the bottom for the debt service fund, kind of, I don't want to use the word annoying, but it kind of does annoy me that the fund balance is growing in the debt service fund. You know, come on, we keep collecting taxes, why aren't we? The state will start to adjust that. So as we go, they will take a look at our fund balance. They automatically work in a cushion for property taxes that people don't pay, for unpaid property taxes. So they are giving us more money than what our debt payment is in the event that people don't pay the taxes. So when our fund balance starts getting up there, then our taxes for the debt will start. Well, they'll start taking the allocations off of the tax levy for that once it starts getting a little larger. And then the debts of the capital projects fund, too, you'll see basically the revisions there are just because I was guessing last June as to what we're going to spend by the end of June, and I was a little off, so now we're spending the rest of all of it now in this year, in 17-18. And it should be, yes, it will be wiped out by the end of June because the project's complete. We have paid for it, but the project's complete. But so all that expense will be booked by the end of the year. So we'll see an ending capital projects fund balance of 0. So, yeah, now back to the general fund. The revenue on the very front page, the revenue we originally adopted for the general fund was a little over $7 million. The revenue actually coming in, I believe it's going to be about 7.2. So that's just a little more enrollment than we forecasted, and a few more donations, and just some miscellaneous stuff. Special ed revenue is always a good one. That's probably up a little bit too. So that's why we have that nice increase in revenue. The expenditures actually are decreased from what we budgeted. Now only by above 100 and some thousand, but the net effect of that, or a change in fund balance, we were forecasting a negative 700 and it's only a negative 386. So almost all due to the fact that I budgeted the extra building expenditures that we were going to be paying for. 17-18, we're going to have the fields all done by the end of this year, et cetera, and that was all budgeted in 17-18, and we're not going to be paying for it all in 17-18, so we're going to move it to 18-19. So, the third page of that first part, it just lists all the expenditures by program in 17-18, by what we adopted as a budget, and by what kind of revision is probably going to end up being. So this is expenditures only, and it's by program. The notes on the right are strictly, I apologize, are just my notes, and I just copied and pasted them in there just so you could see. A little concerning to me was the regular instruction. I mean, I guess if you're going to spend money, that's where you want to spend money is in the instruction. But we were over $130,000 over budget. A lot due to, and I listed some things there. We did have revenue. We had a revenue come in, a donation of music equipment. So we did spend money on music equipment, so that increases your expenditures. We did buy some art equipment. And mostly we bought some Chromebooks, textbooks. The online concurrent enrollment is $7,000 higher than I estimated. And student travel and fees is also a little bit higher than I estimated. I did not budget as much for state tournament expenses. I think I just budgeted for, and kind of just guessed at one state trip. We ended up with 2. And then a knowledgeable kids went as well. So. Good problems to have, I guess, but they weren't carefully budgeted for. The other things to point out, I guess that the sites and buildings, again, yeah, there's a decrease, quite a decrease in the budgeted expenditures, but it should have been at least $400,000 less because we didn't pay for all the fields yet. And that extra $100,000 that ended up in sites and buildings, a little bit of surprise this year with the electrical utilities. They were, electricity costs a little more in the building when your fans are running 24/7, coming from a building that had nothing running. I guess we're hoping to be a little more efficient, and then the whole, maybe somebody should have been a little more, and I should know these things too, but based on the kilowatts we used, I want to say, is there a premium after you use so much? The usage rates, we're using above a certain amount, so it's costing us more. That power is costing us even more than it would have been before. Am I saying that right, Mr. Ayler?
You are. The city assessed a peak usage as well. So peak usage means that between 6:30 and 8 o'clock in the morning. Part of the issue that we had with that, when your building ramps up, they had the building starting, everything pretty much starting at 7 o'clock. So once we kind of got wind of what was happening as far as the peak charges, and we started at 6:30 phasing our building in. So all the way from 6:30 to approximately 9 o'clock, we're phasing our building in, so it doesn't feel like it's a spaceship ready to launch. At 7 o'clock, everything was coming on at one time, and it was just, you can about imagine the voltage increase or the wattage increase. So we're continuing to work with the city's electrical engineer, our own new school engineers. We have a meeting coming up on July 2nd to continue addressing this issue and things that we can do, as Tony indicated to you, to be more effective and efficient with our use of energy.
And another reason why we got a little more expense in there too, other than utilities, we did allocate some clerical salary to maintenance instead of business services or instead of administration. You have somebody that keeps track of all the programming, et cetera, of the doors and all the systems and stuff like that. So that's an added cost in the maintenance, on the maintenance line there. Question about this year.
Is your 12,000 student travel fees that you talked about, is that in addition to, I would assume state tournament, we receive some compensation back throughout the tournaments, including the state tournament. So this is what we spend above and beyond, or?
No, we haven't, yeah, that doesn't include any of that. We don't get any reimbursement from the high school league until following, so we won't get something until next year. And we don't really know what that is. They will do their little magic on their numbers and they'll say, oh, okay, now based on participation, schools in the state, this is what you get for participating in the football or basketball or baseball. So there's been years when we got a nice check, but, so it'll be interesting to see what we get. I want to say it varies because
It's
they don't.
kind of
listen.
their version of profit sharing. So if they have enough people attend the
So
events, they have enough gate proceeds, they also have to rent facilities, so they do their profit loss thing. If they're profitable, then they share
It
back.
does not cover, just one, I don't, it doesn't cover, no.
Very
I mean, the
reasonable.
hotel for the state basketball tournament are, they're spending.
A captive audience. It's a good thing to have, though.
It is, and I'm coming at this strictly numbers, so it might seem harsh in some of my explanations, but just what you want is how the numbers are coming through. Okay, so the 18-19 budget, this just kind of laid out, and well, I just kind of skip over Fund 21. In the financial statements, in our official financial statements, Fund 21 just gets sucked into the general fund. So it's just part of the general fund. I separated out because, just to remind you that we have that out there, we have our different fundraising activities. Not the activity accounts like FFA, senior class, junior class, student council, but a lot of clubs have accounts within the general fund, and that we track separately. Football, baseball, this is where we have the trap. So they're supposed to run in the black. So basically, I just kind of estimate what's coming in, what's coming out, and it usually it's pretty close to netting out to zero figure. Or make a little money so they have something to spend next year. So the 2018-19 budget, we'll leave the general fund again till last. So food service, yeah, I'm hoping that the revenues will jump up just a little, and the expenditures should remain fairly constant there as well. And they should about break even or a little bit of a positive. Community ed, same thing, they're basically running their same programs this year with the same amount of staff. So if nothing really changes there, they are going to run in the red, about $68,000. And then the debt service fund, pretty easy. Those are tax revenue and our aid coming in, and that's the debt payments for the year, $2.6 million. So the general fund, going back to the general fund, the revenue, we're going to have a nice increase in our revenue, and due to there was an increase in the per student aid, the state aid, and then we also I think we'll have quite a nice increase in enrollment. I know Mr. Ayler said today, not counting the kindergarten, there's probably 10 kids coming in that we know about. Now there'll be a handful of kids that don't come when the year starts, we'll wonder where they went, but that's just a normal ebb and flow of enrollment. But yeah, revenue should be up nice next year. But going along with that, our expenditures are also going to increase because we did add some teachers because of those larger classes. So, because kindergarten is going to be 3 classes, and all those things obviously cost money. So our expenditures are going to run a little higher than last year as well. So the last page, I've broken out the expenditure by program again, and just listed out what we're ending the year and where I think the next year what our adopted budget for 19 will be. I don't think there's a lot really to point out other than, administratively, I have to budget full health insurance for everyone, and not all of our staff will end up taking health insurance, so, but I do budget it just in case, because we'd rather have it that way than have a surprise at the end of the year. Finally, we hope to see our legal fees decrease. So that's why the district support services should be down a little bit. The salary benefit change in regular instruction is, due to the addition of staff and just their salary increases. Vocational ed does have a decrease. Vocational ed is going to be your ag, your FCS, business ed, and industrial ed. The decrease there is almost all due to, last year we bought about $40,000 in shop equipment. I think it's mostly shop. It's mostly shop stuff that we bought last year that we're not going to have this year. So, yeah, it looks like a decrease, but it was just kind of a strange year, a big year last year. Our expenses were higher than they usually ever are, so we're probably back on track with the vocational ed program. Special ed, it will just increase. We hired a GCSE teacher, a totally separate teacher that this past year, part of the year, was the early childhood special ed. But we're going to have a separate teacher just due to the number of kids. And then we have part of the special ed is an access program, and a little bit higher salaried staff in the access program this year that is increasing the special education expenses. And that transportation too, we probably should point out that there'll be an increase in our transportation, mostly due to normal increase in the transportation contract, but we might possibly be adding a whole new route on the bus. And then the grand total is on the bottom, and so we'll probably look to the front of the total expenditures. Close. Like I said, I know it's hard to hear all of it at once. If you have any questions, just feel free to just give me an email or give me a call, and I can get back to you with an answer, and I will chat to you.
Thank you for your organized explanation. It makes it sort of understandable to make someone like you.
We want to take the opportunity to extend my thanks and appreciation to Tony. She goes above and beyond to make sure that we are pretty diligent in properly reporting and coding our expenses and revenues, and so she's worked diligently to bring this information to you this evening. So Tony, thank you very much for all the time and effort you put into preparing this document for our board members.
Should we do a separate motion for Andy? Or one motion for that?
I would recommend you go ahead with one motion for both.
Heard Tony's report, very well done. Would someone like to make a motion to approve the revisions to the 2017-2018 budget, as well as to adopt the 2018-2019 budget?
Paul makes a motion.
There's no second.
There's a motion to approve the revisions and also the adoption of the 2018-2019 budget by Cowell, second by Clinton. Is there any further discussion? If none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's carried. Now we'll move on to the contracts. Chuck, do you want to just handle that?
Sure, be happy to share that information with you tonight. The comparison information is included in your packet as we work through negotiations with Lisa and with Mrs. Shepherd and Mr. Tim. The goal there always is to what we use as kind of our guiding tool as well with the teachers is that we try to be in the middle of that, and so that was our goal with these as well. So appreciate their input in the process and feel that what we placed in front of you tonight is more than a fair and equitable offer on their part to serve as your administrators.
Okay. Are there any questions or comments on salaries as proposed? And perhaps we should take these on individual motions.
I think that would be good.
Would anyone like to make a motion to approve the recommendation for community education director?
Friends, I'll make that motion.
Second by Merrill.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of the proposed, or the recommended salary for Mr. Lawson, our community ed director, please say yes or aye.
Aye.
And opposed? That is passed. The contract for Angela Shepherd as proposed.
I just have a point of information before we go on. Does community ed director require any license, certificate, or other administrative? Just a person?
Yeah, they've relaxed that and over the last few years, and she's not required to have a license.
So what constitutes a community ed director then? Is it just a certain degree, or is it just interest in community ed? Or?
She does have some college experience and then does have a college degree in finance, and so she's indicated to me as well, she'll be working on a master's degree as well, so that she can continue doing an effective and efficient.
I was just wondering.
Yeah.
In the time I've been here, that position has grown and grown and grown and grown.
She does an
And
excellent
grown and grown.
And it continues to grow, and you've indicated tonight that you'd like to have trap team as a part of that, which I'm not opposed to, and so, yes, and she is more than willing to take on more sometimes than we realize, so does an excellent job.
Moving on to item B, contract for Angela Shepherd. Someone prepared to make a motion for the salary as recommended,
Merrill will make the motion.
and a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And item number E, approve the 2018-2021 contract for Mr. Tim. Would someone like to make a motion for that as recommended?
Paul makes the motion.
And a second?
Second by Merrill.
Any further discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Thank you. And now I believe we're at item number F, 8F, the lead in water management plan with the IDA.
We're required by the new state statute to have lead in our water testing to make sure that we're lead content. I'll reverse my statement. Whoa, lead in the water. So we have secured that report already, but you as a board need a policy in place to ensure that you're doing what you say you're going to do and what the state is requiring you to do. So my thanks to Dan for assisting us with coming up with the management plan for making sure that our water is safe to consume.
to review that. Is someone prepared to make a motion for approval of the plan that was developed with Mr. Dan Fitch?
Dan Fitch.
Dan Fitch.
Yep.
Of the IU.
Who's gonna make that motion?
And a second?
Second by Merrill.
Any further discussion? Not, all in favor? Opposed? And that's carried. Item number G, approve the 2017-2018 QCOM annual report prepared by Mr. Tim.
It's in your packet. It's an annual requirement for us to present that to you as a board and have you look it over and review some of the findings that we have. Again, we find the QCOM program is instrumental in helping us foster some initiatives here as far as our curriculum and as far as some school-wide initiatives that we embrace. So, again, it's an annual requirement, and we invite you to approve the 17-18 QCOM report.
Is there a motion to approve that report?
Merrill will make the motion.
Second?
Until second.
Any further discussion or questions from Mr. Tim? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And now we're at 8H, approve updates to the co-op agreement with Houston School District number 294 for boys and girls track and field. That was worked on by Dan and
Lisa.
Ms. Truckee.
Yeah.
So we've been fortunate to have an ongoing agreement with Houston, and it has worked extremely well. I would like to say on behalf of both districts, I think it's something that it revolves around just the ability of our track coaches to work collectively and cooperatively, and then for both school districts to embrace providing those kids with an extra opportunity, so having those extra numbers. So we're very fortunate in that, and I will turn it over to Dan and Lisa here in case they have any question, anything they want to add to it.
Yeah, I'll just kind of paraphrase some of the information I sent you. And part of this is what Lisa was able to get from Lynn Johnson at the State High School League. We looked at what's the process for updating a co-op. There's kind of two options. One is to totally dissolve the existing co-op and start from scratch. Of course, we didn't want to do that. The other is just to make revisions. And as you may have saw in the cover letter of one of those emails I sent you, our original co-op with them dates back to the 1988-89 season. It was actually between three schools at that point: Rushford Independent School District, Peterson Independent School District, and Houston Independent School District. Participation numbers were obviously substantially lower. We were just talking, Houston wanted to co-op and join with us when they had 0 kids participating, but it was to create an opportunity for the kids there. They've grown from literally 0 back then to numbers this year of 31, last year 28, the year before that 33. So they have a very healthy participation group, creating opportunities for their students, but not enough to stand alone. So this co-op works mutually beneficial for us. As Lynn Johnson said there, what we're doing is updating the existing co-op. We're bringing it to both boards for the boards to approve, to you guys tonight, and to their board on Thursday night, just to simply kind of clarify, update the language, and I included the old language and the current language to reflect that. What it means for an additional cost to our district, actually, none. We currently, dating back to low number days, it was stated that District 234, which was our old district number, was to be the one to hire the head coach. And then the assistant coaches were hired. We hired a number of assistants, and Houston had 1 assistant, and then recently expanded to 2 assistants. Now what we're trying to do is model this more similar to our other existing co-ops. For example, our wrestling one with Lewiston Altura, where each district hires a co-head coach or head coach. And then the assistants, as well as all the related costs, are split evenly between the district based on participation. So this would mean that Houston would be promoting one of their coaches, one of the assistants, up to a head coaching position. And there's a number of justification and rationale for that. But it also will model our program then if we go to 2 head coaches, similar to what a number of other schools, because right now we've got a varsity boys program, a varsity girls program, a junior high boys program, and a junior high girls program, all coached by technically 1 head coach and some assistants. Schools like Lake City, Plainview, Elgin, Will, Iota, Caledonia, LFC, which is Lane, Broken, Moore Central, they have Grand Meadow, they have a boys head coach and a girls head coach. What that does for them is much more efficiency in terms of planning for meets. They have to do meet lineups, but then also the regular practice schedules. You know, if you're overseeing literally a group of 80 to 90 kids, that's substantial for 1 head coach to enter all those lineups. To get to this co-head coach concept and share the work. Speaking, I guess, for you, but on the Houston side of it, there's the coordination of getting the kids from there over to here for practice, the meets, you know, getting pulled from classes, again, the lineup aspect of it. So this step forward would be to kind of update, better match what our existing co-op is, as well as your co-op, like with Caledonia for wrestling, is it?
Just one.
Oh, okay. Okay. As far as the wording of a lot of this, though, in terms of shared costs, is making it kind of taking away any of the question marks and making it a little clearer on how this whole program is going to be funded, and it's all based on participation. If we have higher numbers, we pay a higher percentage, but they also pay their fair share. That makes sense. And I don't know if you've looked in detail at obviously all of the different pages we sent you, but would entertain any questions you may have if you have questions on the specific.
So if you move to co-head coaches, and you just said it's, other schools have found it efficient to have a boys coach and a girls coach, so then will your head coaches, one will be the boys coach and one will be the girls coach, or?
I think essentially yes, but we didn't want to verify who had to provide what in the event that they can work it out. If they don't work it out, then reassign. I mean, right now the way our coaching staff works, it'll just be a big relief off of Gary, and our future head coach can really provide what he's already providing immensely and just be rewarded for that financially. So.
Under the current coaching staff, that would definitely be their interest, is one district or one of our head coaches, Gary, would oversee one of either the boys or the girls, and then, without naming the potential person they promote would be the head coach of the other. And yet then obviously all the assistants aren't a boys assistant exclusive or a girls assistant exclusive, because the way track and field works is they kind of specialize in different events. So right now Ricky Smith is our throwers regardless if it's boys or girls. I'm trying to think of whoever else. Dale Longa obviously is the jumpers, Gary is the pole vaulters, and so on. So from our existing coaching staff, this would make it much more efficient on their side of it when it comes to regular practice routines as well as meet entries and facilitating of those actual competitions.
Thank you. Is anyone prepared to make a motion to approve the updates to the co-op agreement?
Hal makes a motion, and thank you very much for the needed update.
Nice to see the cooperation.
Yeah.
Motion has been made to approve the Freshman Peterson Houston co-op agreement updates. Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you, Lisa, for being here tonight.
And Joyce, can I just clarify, Lisa will stay if, I know it's asking to be signed by the chair as well as the clerk, and with John gone, can she sign on behalf of John so she can bring a signed document to their board meeting? Or should we wait for John to get back?
Yeah.
We'll wait till-
Item 8I is to approve the hiring of Smith Schaefer to complete the audit of the 2017-2018 fiscal school year. And as you'll note, the amount in the agreement was not to exceed $14,675, including expenses.
So Smith Schaefer provided your audit last year, and we were pleased with what they provided, and have given you the terms of what they project for their costs associated with that this year as well.
Is anyone prepared to make a motion?
Darrell will make a motion.
And second?
Second by Hal.
Any further discussion? Not all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And that carries. Items J and K have to do with the insurance company.
So on page 79 in your document or on your board book is the information. We'll apologize up front. Normally the insurance committee, which is made up of Director Miro and Board Chair Linder and myself, get together and meet, unfortunately with Chairperson Linder on vacation. We were not able to get together. However, we do have the information that you will need to assist you in making your decision tonight. We do have 3 quotes there. One is from Valor Insurance. The other one is EMC, which is through the Butch Johnson agency, and then C.O. Brown on the property and liability. And so we'll deal with that one first, because the next one is the workman's comp. And you can see the price breakdown that we have there, and would be happy to entertain any questions, concerns that you might have in regards. The nice thing is that we can bring to you what is projected, as you saw tonight from Tony's budget projections. It's nice to see a reduction in our premiums and to offset some of the costs that we're incurring here at the district. So happy to entertain any questions you might have.
I guess Merrill would like to make a motion about this to the committee, insurance committee.
I think we need to have things in place by July 1.
We knew this was going to come for 3 years.
We have the numbers in front of you, so,
I see the numbers.
okay?
That's why we have a committee.
I'm just going to share with the board, the numbers are not going to change even though we run it through the committee. The numbers are not going to change. I mean, you would have the opportunity to bring a recommendation as a committee, as an insurance committee, but it will not change the numbers as we present them to you this evening. So I guess I would...
I don't disagree that the numbers aren't going to change.
Okay.
In the process, we shouldn't deviate from the process.
What do you anticipate would change as a result of the insurance committee meeting?
We follow the process.
Okay?
Does the committee traditionally do more than just solicit for quotes and?
We have in the past, as Director Miro has indicated to you, we've taken the opportunity to invite each of the providers in and to share what they envision that they can do, and then kind of a breakdown of their costs. So again, that as he's indicated, is that solidifies the process to some extent. However, again, it's not going to change the numbers. the other stipulation, and I appreciate your concern here, is that, we're under a tight time frame to meet those obligations as far as how long you have to have it advertised for, and then making sure that we have things in place so that June, the end of June is usually when you do the rollover, and July 1 is when it takes effect.
Did you all take time to read the memos from Laura?
Yes.
I think we had a similar situation with our attorney, where we looked for somebody local and they didn't have their expertise. I think we have something similar here.
I'd like to hear that word local, and I've advocated to keep things local more than once on this board. I can't, I don't see why our school would be so complicated that we would have to hire an agent with a purported expertise in school insurance. I believe that's what a local agent would do with the companies that he would represent us to, and would in fact be part of a local agent's product that they would bring to us. I don't know what the problems were with communication that were cited in these letters, but I know one communication problem would be that it didn't go to our committee, and that sounds like that's our administration's problem, not the insurance company's problem, not having things ducks in a row and having it to go. So I guess
It sounded to me, if I was reading those documents right, that some of the issue was that the carrier, not the local person, but the carrier actually kind of admitted that this was not really their area, or that this was not kind of they weren't used to providing this kind of coverage, or it wasn't their specialty. I don't know, or did I misread that?
They just shared with us that there's some cumbersomeness and frustration on their part as well, just through having an extra step in the whole process.
Well, I guess, before I was on this board, years ago, I covered the board meetings for one of the local papers, and I was really impressed at the way the board did go out of their way to use local people as much as possible. And I think we've done that. I think the board continues to do that. I think we did it in this case. On the other hand, we're stewards of funds, and we need to look for the best product for the best price. So at least I feel like that's part of my responsibility as a board member. So I think we have to consider that too. It is a competitive field, I think.
Is anyone willing to make a motion?
I'll make a motion.
I did not make a motion to run this with me.
I'm sorry.
I didn't hear
Was
this
there-
motion. Is it a motion?
Yes, it was the start of the discussion.
Okay.
And was there a second to that motion?
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
No. Is anyone willing to make another motion?
Paul makes a motion to accept property and liability insurance, Valor, and workers' compensation from Brown.
Is there a second to that motion?
Princeton second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
No. I'm going to interrupt the meeting because I need to show you guys some agent record letters. Chuck, you wrote one that you forgot.
Excuse me, you had a chance to address us at the beginning of the meeting, Butch.
There was an agent record letter. When I read that statement, I'm the agent record under the property and casualty for June 30th. Chuck had to write not one but two agent record letters, giving Valor Insurance and Seal Brown my quotes. Because I had done my due diligence, I had those quotes.
I didn't give him quotes, Butch.
Chuck, you signed the
I
application.
signed,
You have, it
so
is
that,
no, Chuck, you don't have a broker's license, and that is what you are doing. You are not an insurance broker.
I agree with you, I'm not an insurance
You
broker.
signed the, this, Chuck.
All that does is allow them to go out and secure a quote. It
Does
doesn't,
that mean anything, Chuck? That's your word that says, I am your property and casualty agent. I had secured those quotes. You had to write the agent and record letters, taking them away from me.
I gave them permission to go out and secure quotes from them.
That's what you gave me, till June 30th, Chuck. And you didn't even ask the year. It didn't even ask 1 year, Chuck. You did not even get that.
All that, I was told, all that it permitted them to do is to get their quote from their insurance. Not to interfere with your, not to interfere with your process or
You
your.
took them away. Hanover, Wright Specialty, EMC, and Liberty Mutual was the four companies I went to. Hanover, you took away, and Wright Specialty, you took away. By writing those agent record letters, giving them to another
Well,
agent.
then I was given false information, Butch.
Then are we going to correct it?
We can correct it,
I need an agent record from you, giving me those quotes back.
okay?
That's fair, Chuck.
Well, I was told that by giving them that release of information, that they had the right to secure quote through their agency, not yours, because EMC blocked them from going out and getting those quotes.
They didn't block them, Chuck. It's the first agent in. You didn't get your request for proposals out here. You signed this May 4th, and the email come out May 8th on a request for proposals. Because you didn't have one put together. I went off the renewal. I reached out to those companies through EMC and got those quotes for you. The first agency there is not blocking anybody. They have that ability to procure that quote.
Well, then I went off of inaccurate information, and because that's what I was told, is that in order for them to secure that quote, we had to give them that, I had to give them that release.
They didn't tell you then that they already had one, did they?
No, they didn't.
That makes a big difference on there, because I was there. The only way they could get it, they couldn't get it, because I already had secured that quote.
Okay? I was not aware that that's how that works with
That's how the
getting a
process.
release, yeah. Okay?
First agent there has that quote. Somebody else wants it, they have to go to you, and then you write the letter stating they are now the agent of record letter, they can now go get that quote. So Valor Insurance and Seal Brown took my two quotes away. Liberty Mutual refused the quote, and Hanover refused the quote.
So, which quotes did they take away from you?
Wright Specialty and Liberty Mutual, Wright Specialty and Liberty Mutual.
And I thought you said Liberty Mutual refused to give you a quote.
Hanover and Liberty Mutual did. They refused because of vacant buildings and because of losses. Liberty Mutual did not want to quote the school's insurance out. Hanover did not want to quote the school's insurance out. But Hanover got the agent of record letter, and so did Wright Specialty.
Okay, so what are you contending then that we prevented from happening?
When you filled out this application, Wright Specialty, that quote was gone for me. and I already had my quote in there.
So what happened to your quote from EMC? That didn't impact that, correct?
EMC, I have the quote out.
Correct. So that was, I guess I was under the impression that's who you were representing with EMC.
That letter, I did my due diligence, I went to all 4 of the major players and got quotes. And it's the interference that we went through 2 years ago, or 3 years ago now. When you had to come in my office and write those agent of record letters, so I could go back.
So why is there a price difference between what you provided us and what EMC provided us?
I've got EMC is my quote.
Okay.
And the question, I have some questions on that because it looks like a duplication of coverages. And I talked to EMC about that. Now all of a sudden there's a lot more property in the open than the field up here, and you're wanting to insure the track. And I don't have figures now, $300 and some thousand. It's like, what's going to go wrong with that track?
I'm equally confused because I wasn't aware that we increased the coverage there.
Yes, you did.
So just for the record, the last time we ran this through committee, we opened and sealed bids at the meeting.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the way it should be. It should be transparent, and it should be integrity, should be there. What we have right here is not good.
Again, I wasn't aware that Butch had gone out and secured, and what I was told is that the other agents couldn't get a quote because of EMC blocking them or not allowing them to have access.
Ballard could not have gotten any property and casualty quotes on the basis of that, but EMC went out there, and that's who I worked with, Marcia McLennan, not EMC. Marcia McLennan took over for Riverport. So,
Right. So,
Marcia McLennan is acting in the same capacity as Riverport. And they work with these companies, they reached out to them.
they reached out to,
Hanover, Wright Specialty, EMC, and Liberty Mutual.
okay,
Those are the 4 companies I went to. Hanover was taken away and Wright Specialty was taken away.
because of my
Agent of record.
Okay. Thank you for making
Because I
me
got
aware of that.
that email stating that one was, I received it, Wright Specialty was received by EMC on May 15th on there, and Hanover was received by May 18th. They emailed me the next day, Hanover was the same day, and they stated that they had received an agent record letter, which is no longer represent those companies. And that's where I got that letter, taking that quote, and giving it to another agent. So wherever you sign those letters to.
Right, one was the C.O. Brown and one was the Ballard Insurance. Yeah.
What day was that?
I received those emails May.
Then why are you just bringing that up now? Not talking to him? That's the
Tonight-
communication problem.
Tonight is when the bids are being let. And as Dean said earlier, they would not have gotten that quote with that letter written, and if it's sealed, then it's open. But I would not have a quote taken away.
So this letter which says you were the agent of record, this is from a year ago, June 5th, 17, and your agent of record appointed until June 30th, 2018. So I'm pretty confused, but what you're saying is nobody else should have been able to go out and get bids as long as you're the agent of record?
When I reached out to those companies, I was the agent that went there first. When the proposals came out, the other companies tried to get them, they couldn't because I already had my quote started on those companies. That's when the agent of record letter comes out stating, I don't have that authority anymore. We're going to have C.O. Brown represented, we're going to have Ballard Insurance represented, and then they get my quote.
So the whole intent there, though, Butch, was to ensure that there's integrity in the process.
I would have come forward, Chuck, and given you all those under my agent's name, and you could have decided I would make a recommendation. If Liberty Mutual would have been better, C.O. Brown, Liberty Mutual or Hanover or EMC would have been better, or Wright Specialty. I would have had those quotes to review and look at, and you could have seen every one of you. I would have presented you district's best interest from what I've ever seen for most folks.
So are you saying that Valor Insurance would prevent you from being the facilitator of our policy?
They could, because of the letter that you wrote.
I know, but have you reached out to Valor Insurance to confirm that that's the case? Or that you would have some involvement in the process?
No, because I have to go back. I have 15 days to get an agent record letter from you, rescinding the letter you wrote to them.
Well, I don't know how we can ensure that the process has integrity if we're limiting, who can provide us with quotes.
It's the same on the work comp. You were with Robert Snyder, I worked with Robert Snyder. I couldn't get a quote. I went to Amtrust, couldn't get a quote, because they were already out there. So it works both ways here. I wasn't gonna come in here and cry and say, hey, my quotes are taken away. But I couldn't go to those other companies either.
Okay. Again, the whole intent was just to give them the ability to secure a quote. Wasn't to undermine your efforts with EMC. I thought that you were solely with EMC.
EMC is gonna go to they're like Riverport. They were the broker. When Riverport went out of the school's insurance business, Marsh & McLennan was the only agency large enough to facilitate all these schools in the state of Minnesota, because the majority come due July 1st. They needed someone with some experience to win it. At that point, Marsh & McLennan is acting as the same basis as what Riverport did in the past. They facilitated that and went out and had agents, local agents in the communities usually go to the school and provide that service.
I have the same questions that Val had, though, if you knew about this other letter with another agent of record in early May, and you thought that was in error. I'm surprised you didn't go to Mr. Ayler at that moment. But now you're saying that, right, that he shouldn't have written that letter?
You wrote that one, I didn't think I would have had to. That agent, that letter states I'm the agent until June 30th, correct?
Okay, but you found out about the other letter in early May.
Middle of May.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you didn't just immediately call him and say, hey, I thought I was the agent of record, and, I don't know, I think I would have if something like, if I thought that there was an error like that.
Impropriety going on. I wasn't aware of that, Butch, so my apologies to you, but I took it that that's the only way the other companies could get a quote was by me allowing them the opportunity to secure their quote.
Again, if we had met as a committee, this would all come out. This would have come out a month ago.
Well, I know, well, if he felt that there was an error and an impropriety, he had this in May, he could have come to me in May and said, Chuck, what's going on here? I would have been happy for him to educate me and say, you can't do this, you can't, here's what happens, and when I sign a letter for another agency to secure a quote on our behalf. Again, my whole intent was to allow the district to be in a competitive situation so that whatever insurance that we have, it was done with integrity and it was competitive.
If you would have known there was a committee, an insurance committee, as the agent of record, you would have brought it to our attention then. It probably would have been a little more comfortable for him to sit and talk with us in the committee than having to address it the way it's being addressed right now.
Well, he is our agent until through the end of June here. There's no question about that. Nobody's questioning that. But in order for those other companies to secure the quotes, you had to give them the opportunity to get that information.
But that's why, Chuck, that letter states I am the agent through June 30th, and I did my due diligence. I reached out to these other companies to present you options, not to have my options taken away, and that's what happened.
I get that, but where were you on May 20th? Why were you beating on my door saying, Chuck, you made a mistake here, there's an error here, you can't do that. You're blocking me from getting my quotes from these companies because I was told the opposite, so I got caught in between here.
We went through the same process when you had to come in my office here 3 years ago, because I got blocked on those quotes, and at that time, I sat down with you and John and Dean, and we had to write that other agent record letter, because one of those companies went out there and did the same thing as what they're doing now, blocking me, and that's why I came to you, because I told you, I couldn't even get a quote from Riverport. And at that time, you had specifications out there that you had to write which companies you wanted to be working with. And somebody knew, somebody didn't play honest. They went out there and blocked me and all this stuff. And like I said, we're going back and stuff through Robert Snyder. I worked with them. I went to Amtrust and did a quote. I called back and said, we can't help you before I got a quote. So I could have come to you and asked you for that.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have coverage ending on June 30th, like in?
July 1st.
July 1st.
Okay.
I'm willing to meet.
But that sounds like, so we can't get these other quotes until after June 30th if we want another quotes?
The way that letter's written, yes, that's correct. Because that states I am the property and casualty agent. So I did my due diligence.
But don't you think at some point we should be able to look at other quotes, or are you saying that?
You don't know the companies I did. If they couldn't get a quote, there's other companies out there. They were one of those other companies, and they didn't do it. They went to the quotes, companies that I had already reached out to obtain a quote.
Is there something you need to do? Is it?
Well, I feel bad that it's turned into this, because obviously Butch has a concern here that he is our insurance agent through June of this year. Now, based on what board action you took this evening, means that you would roll over to a new insurance provider and a new agent through Valor
Which
Insurance.
legally we probably shouldn't be doing.
I don't think that, from my standpoint, I can't answer that. If we've done something illegal in that part, we would have to take a legal opinion on that.
Did Valor Insurance go to write specialty?
I don't know that.
Well, they had to give you something, Chuck. Mine came from EMC.
Laura, just you tell me who they quoted. I guess I don't know.
What I see what you're saying is that once we're with one agent, we can't get quotes from anyone else.
No, that's not correct at all. You can obtain quotes from whoever you want. If Chuck would have written the agent a record letter, Valor Insurance was not got a quote. I would have had to write specialty. I would have had the EMC to present to you.
But then what options would any other agent have of getting a quote?
There's other companies out there, Joyce, that they can go to. They have, that's their problem. They have to find their own. I had to go out and look here 3 years ago.
What other companies are there that handle this kind of?
It's pretty limited, as he indicated. EMC is one, Hanover is one, Wright Specialty is one, and there's one other. I think there's only 4 players out
There are
there.
4 big players, the
Right.
Remedial, and I went to those 4 companies.
So if there are only 4 players and you only have the
You know,
right.
you can go, years ago, it was split. When Dennis Oberlin, or I'm sorry, Dennis Rislow was superintendent here, I presented a bid to him. And on a technicality, he said, I threw my bid out. So I went to talk to him. And instead of the $2 million, he wanted $1 million liability, he wanted $1 million excess. At that time, I thought it was cheaper, it was cheaper. Put $2 million excess liability out there. General liability and exclude the excess. So when I did that, on a technicality, he threw my bid out. I sat and talked with him, and he explained to me, he said, I'll get it out next year. And I had a school insured for 20-some years. I had it insured from that time through the consolidation and through 2007. And then 3 years ago, I came in and you couldn't bid the process in there. So I came to the board and John came in my office the next day and sat down for over an hour. going through that bid very thoroughly, and then understanding what my frustration was in that, because it could not be bid. And I had it again, and now the process seems flawed again, because now we're going back to Valor Insurance.
Can I just interject, is there something we can do as a board now, because we're like way off base and way out of order and everything, but we, it sounds like maybe we need to take some time and look at this. So I don't know what we do since we passed a motion.
Well, and you have a timeline coming up on you, because by
Right.
July 1, you have to have a new,
I was thinking of giving you one day.
you have a
I wasn't thinking.
new policy in place here to have things.
Because we are, yeah,
Oh,
we
what
are.
are- John's gonna be back, what, by the 25th? Is there?
Yeah, June 25th.
Let me ask you this, Joyce. Explain to me, something the center of a community as a school is. Why are you so wanting to go to Minnetonka and turn your back on the community? Is there that much difference in the prices?
I don't, EMC is not a part of our community. Obviously, you're the agent of record, but we're just going off of recommendations from, you know, the agency that's representing EMC as well. Saying, you know, that, you know, there's an extra step in there, so.
There was with Riverport too, Chuck, and we never had a problem. The problem last year was you went from 2 schools and everything else and closing some midterm and then trying to get this one insured. It didn't come on the renewal, it had to come in August.
Correct. Yeah.
And there was a lot of complication last year. And that was a lot of changes.
My suggestion to kind of get us beyond this point is that we try to set a committee meeting as soon as John gets back, try to get as much information as we can before that, and have a special meeting after the committee meetings, maybe on the same day.
I think you'd need a little bit longer time, but I concur with you in order to move this along. Yeah. So. Okay.
I appreciate your position, but yeah, I think now we have to figure out as a board
Yeah, because if
we
we
need
had
to do
known,
what we need to do to,
if we had known, gotten your position to us in May, John was still here then, there would have been time to have a meeting.
I wasn't aware that John was
Well,
gone.
yeah, but you knew, I mean, there was a red flag there. So, I mean, there was a red flag for you.
we make a motion to put bring this motion on hold temporarily, or, I mean, I don't know parliamentary procedure well enough to know what we do.
Who's our
after.
parliamentarian? Dan, are you our parliamentarian?
When was it open?
I'm sorry?
You can resend it.
We just, they submitted those to Laura. They submitted their bids to her.
Bids were advertised April 16th in the paper, I think the 29th and May 3rd. Had to be submitted by June 6th at 2 p.m.
So they went into Laura.
Because
She put all the data.
none of the agents would have known if they were successful or not prior to
None,
that.
none.
And so it could be thought that, Butch could have thought that he may be successful even though he was locked out of some other companies because he had to go someplace else to get bids, is that what? And so until he found out, and I don't know when you found out that you didn't get it, or that you weren't the low bidder, that Valor was low bidder.
Right now.
I just found out tonight, right?
So that's when the red flag came up for him, would have been tonight, not back then.
But if he felt that there was something done improper in May, it would have been appreciated if he had come to me and said, Chuck, you can't do that because I'm your agent of record. Yeah, okay. I guess I would be supportive to say, okay, put this on hold, put this motion on hold. As Dean has advocated here tonight, get the insurance committee involved, let us sort it out, and then we'll bring you a recommendation.
Find out if Valor went to.
Right, I'm not even sure. See, I don't even know that.
Yep, it is right
Write the letter, rescind that one, and I can get the quote for it especially.
Okay?
If can be turned over, they can be all handled by July 1st.
So we gotta make a motion for some of the approved motion.
And then
Put
table.
that motion on. But what would be the proper procedure?
Well, then you would allow the insurance committee, based on the information that they're gonna gather, to move forward with a decision as far as our insurance coverage for, as of July 1.
Somebody like to help us
So
out?
would it come back to the whole board? or-
It would, but it would come back in July for you to be supportive of the committee's recommendation.
Do we need to have this meeting before July 1st though? The committee can't enter into the contract.
Right, they can. You're right.
Well, Joy suggested special meeting.
If we
If we need to have a board to that,
No?
after the committee meets.
You can just write the letter, rescinding your other letter, and stating 90 H record under, write specialty, and I can get that quote and bid for you. It'll be effective July 1st.
Okay?
Yeah, so the committee would have to make that decision, I think. Give them-
Committee would
give them
have to
that
make-
direction.
Right. The board has to approve it. Right.
Okay, so do we make a motion to rescind the previous motion, or?
I would advise you to. Yeah.
Okay. And Merrill, Dean?
Merrill will make the motion to some previous motion.
I'll second that.
So, but in that previous motion, you also had the workman's comp involved in that. So you're gonna rescind that, and I guess I would ask you to make a motion then to approve the workman's comp insurance, so we can take care of that one.
On this motion to rescind, is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Did everyone vote? I'll vote with you, Mayor. Okay, now, a motion to,
Approve item K, workman's comp.
Merrill will make that motion.
second,
What are we,
You're approving the provider for workman's comp, which is Cedar Brown.
okay.
I'll second.
any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. And opposed? That's carried.
Do you want to give us some possible dates in the June? Conflicts? We could go at 5 o'clock? or-
John won't be, John's coming back that day.
What day did you say he's coming back?
Well, our superintendent evaluations are due to John on the 25th, so I was assuming he's going to be back by the 25th.
It
you know?
is, no.
Okay, all right. Could I stand in or sit in for him?
Sure.
Maybe? Okay. So then, getting it set as soon as possible would probably be best.
We're gonna need, what would Thursday night with that?
The 28th? Or this is
No, the 28th.
28th?
Thursdays and Mondays probably work best for me, if that's. Or Fridays. Thinking 28th. Chuck?
Yep.
Okay.
You want to stay at 5:30 or you want to go at 5 o'clock?
5:30, so we get thrown off.
There you go. Why not? Keep it consistent. Thank you.
Does we need a motion on that, on setting that special meeting?
Okay.
Oh, that's a committee meeting or a school board?
That's the whole board.
Oh,
Okay, so the committee's going to meet first and then,
I'll get you information as soon as we get it back from Butch.
okay. All right, is there a motion for a special meeting, following the committee meeting at 5:30 on
June 28th.
Thursday, June 28th?
So the committee's, what time, their meeting before that?
The committee would meet before that,
And we will meet at 5:30.
and the regular meeting, special meeting would be 5:30.
I thought the committee was meeting at 5:30.
That was regular school, or I mean, special school board.
So you need a motion for that? Okay, I'll make that motion.
Second by Merrill.
Motion by Princeton, second by Miro, to have a special school board meeting on Thursday, June 28th at 5:30 PM here. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And you'll let us know on the
Yes, I will, yep. As soon as Butch gets the information back, I'll be sharing it with you and bring you in. Thank you.
All right, I believe we are at the election issues.
Yeah, you're at item
L.
L, yeah.
The first item is to appoint Laura Hahn as assistant clerk to assist with the school board election process. Is there a motion?
Carol will make that motion.
Princeton will second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item M, approve the resolution establishing dates for filing affidavits of candidacy. And that's between July 31st.
Yeah, it's a short window there, so I ask you to pay attention to those dates.
Between July 31st which is a Tuesday,
August
through
14th.
Tuesday, August 14th, yes, at 5:00 PM.
Correct.
Is there a motion to that effect?
Princeton will make that motion.
Second by Merrill.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Roll call.
I'm sorry, roll call vote.
All right, Valerie Howe,
Aye.
Joyce Iverson,
Aye.
Dean Miro,
Aye.
John Pettit,
Aye.
Bonnie Princeton.
Aye.
That's carried. Letter M, approve the resolution calling for a special election to fill the school board vacancy created by Julie Cope's resignation, and that would be a 2-year term.
Right, and it would be on the ballot, so by approving this resolution this evening, we're able to facilitate the general election that takes place this fall. And so it would be stated that way on the ballot, that this is a vacancy and it's a 2-year commitment.
Is there a motion to approve that resolution?
Princeton will make that motion.
A second to that motion?
Is it, so would the filing period be the same for that one too then?
The filing?
That requires a roll call as well.
All right. Any further discussion on that? And we'll ask for a roll call vote.
Valerie Howe,
Aye.
Joyce Iverson,
Aye.
Dean Miro,
Aye.
John Pettit,
Aye.
Bonnie Princeton.
Aye.
And Chuck, do you want to comment on voting in July for the interim position?
Yeah, the plan there is for us to have letters of interest of anyone that wants to fill that position, and we present them to you as a board at the July board meeting. and then you select that candidate, and then we'll move forward with their fulfilling and swearing them in, and so that they can fulfill the duties for the 4 remaining months. So they would be with you as a district from August through December.
So they wouldn't start as soon as they were approved in.
July? No.
How do you foresee that happening? Are we going to just have names and we have to vote, or?
We'll present you with letters, their letters of interest. Yep.
Item 8O is to approve the first reading of the following policies. 520, student surveys. 523, policies incorporated by reference. And number 525, violence prevention. Applicable to students and staff. Is there a motion to approve the first reading?
Mayor will make that motion.
And a second? Any further discussion? All in favor? And opposed? And now we come to reports. Superintendent, David?
Joyce and Chuck, I will leave at 7:30, so if I walk out, it's.
Sure.
We can open at 7:30.
Okay, my report starts on 104 on your board, on your electronic document there, so I'll be brief. But as you well know, the baseball team was very successful this year, and so I extended my congratulations to coaches Ogg and Lee and the team as well. We did a welcome back on Saturday afternoon for them, and extended our thanks and appreciation to the team members. We were blessed with 7 seniors on this year's squad, and the entire team represented themselves and their parents and our school district in the finest manner possible. The trap shooting team, as we mentioned to you tonight, participated in the Minnesota State High School Play Target Championships on June 12th and 13th, and my thanks to the volunteer coaches, Kobe Lynn, Jamie Peeler, and Greg Guile, who assisted with having those students attend that. We had 2 track team members that qualified for the state, and they were Cullen Olson and Nicole Blocksmith. So again, my congratulations to the track team and coaches, and each of those represented us well in the state. Colin finished 6th, and Nicole finished 13th. The FFA members had their annual banquet on Monday, June 4th. I attended that, and I commend our leadership by our seniors this year. We had 2, and Grace Lumen, Sean Marg, and just felt that they have done an excellent job in representing the district and agriculture and its future. RP graduates, congratulations to the graduates. My thanks to Dean and John for assisting with that as well. Handing out the diplomas. The vocal music concert that was held on May 22nd. And again, we had fine performances and had a great night of music. So my thanks to the students and Ms. Engvaldson on the final concert for the year. And in their community and our school family members, we've had 2 deaths. One was Tim Cuss, and the other one was Shyla Rizlo. Shyla was a member of the teaching staff here at Rushford, and I extended our condolences and sympathies on behalf of the school district and staff to both of those families. We did sponsor and host the Mr. Thompson Memorial Walk and Run that took place on 5/23, and that was spearheaded and led by Nicole Blocksmith and Cora Bauer, our student representatives on the Wellness Committee, and Mr. Kanan as well. So did a great job of organizing that and paying tribute to Mr. Thompson at the conclusion of the walk and run. Tree planting, we've had, been blessed with 2 trees that have been planted on the school property. One was from the class of 1963, and that is in memory of their classmates. My thanks and appreciation to Paul Jelsrud and John Ryan, members of the class of 63, who assisted with that. they will be having their class reunion and taking a tour of the school as well. And the other tree is out front, and that was a tree given in memory of Mitch Thompson. Again, my thanks to RPA, Rushford Peterson Education Association, for their thoughtfulness and generosity in providing both the trees and the plaques that are in front of each of the trees. Summer school is underway. High school will be finishing up here already come next Monday, so they will be done. Extend my thanks and appreciations to our teachers and those that are working with our students. And our elementary will be going. They started a week ago and will be wrapping up here in 6 weeks. Landscaping, I don't know if you noticed tonight as you pulled up, Weezer Brothers awarded the completion of the landscaping to be done by Winona Nursery. And so they've been working closely with myself and with Weezer Brothers to make sure everything gets done and done properly. The district will be hosting a drum and bugle corps called the Cavaliers, and that will take place on Sunday, July 1st. And they will be doing an overnight. They will arrive here at the school at 3 a.m. and sleep for about 6 to 7 hours. They'll have a breakfast. They'll do a walkthrough at our football field, so they'll be putting on a free concert to anybody that wants to come and watch them, and we'll be sharing more information with you as time goes on. So, be happy to entertain any questions or concerns you have.
What function are the Cavaliers in Route 2?
They have an event in La Crosse, and then they travel.
They're from Chicago, so they go to La Crosse and they go up to the cities, and I don't know what they're.
They do the whole tri-state area. Yeah. So, and I guess they're the best
Houston
of
is
the best.
hosting one. Yeah, we're supposedly hosting the best of the best. Houston's hosting the second best. The Crescent hosts. I think Cotter does. They look at some other area schools as well, but it was obviously a great opportunity for us to be able to showcase our facility to the national known organization. So.
Community ed report?
I can jump in and speak for Lisa, trying to keep it short. You've got her report on her numbers of participation, but we commented earlier on how that's growing. Last year, as of June, they had 605 registrations. This June, 844 registrations. So obviously huge growth in the community ed program. Kids Club is still active. Summer rec, I'll just highlight a couple things there. We held the first week of summer vacation. We held a basketball camp. 111 kids participated in that. 81 kids participated in track camp and 30 kids in youth golf camp. Obviously great opportunities even in summer to keep these kids involved. And trying to go quick because I know we're late. Little Degree Preschool, that's her last thing on there. 69 registrations so far for next fall. A big highlight on there though is $37,500 for the Pathway Scholarships were awarded to families this last year. We're fortunate we're going to have it again this next year, and then she's going to hope to continue growing for the next 2 years after that. So short but sweet. So. Yep.
Mrs. Shepherd?
Yes, I want to highlight just a couple of things. Our elementary interviews, and I think Dean, you brought up reasons for leaving. I know Mrs. Lynn left because she had a new opportunity to work back in special ed at HFED, so a little bigger, and work with more districts. And Mrs. Blonde went home to be, she's had a baby and be home with her family. And so, and Mr. Dahl left 4th grade to go up to middle school math. So that's why I had a lot. When I said over 30 people applied, I had an amazing amount to talk to different principals, and they're like, I got 7. I'm like, I got 30, and I got, big piles. We're still working on the special ed to replace Mrs. Gaunt, which can be a challenge. But so it was fun meeting all these people. We ended up interviewing 8 for 4th grade, and we interviewed 5 for 3rd grade, and 4 for kindergarten. It was just fun to see the enthusiasm of everyone who came in, and so it's a hard call, except for one happy and the rest, because there's a lot of good educators out there. So it's exciting. We're excited to let them know that you approved their hires. Thank you. And I'll be letting them know when they get their keys, contracts to sign, so it'll be very exciting. Also, the school tours I wanted to bring up tomorrow, family moving to Rushford. in middle of July, and they were fourth grader and second grader, and I just got an email saying there's a fifth grader that they want to bring to our district, and then the other family came with a first grader and then a preschooler for the coming year too. So different people reaching out and making our list so we can update it and know how many new students we do get. So, but Keela and I are working on finishing up end of the year things too, and she'll be done on Friday and ready to start in the fall together. So it's exciting to finish up the year together.
Thank you. And Mr. Tim?
I'll be happy to do that in a quick fashion as well. You've got all the numbers there in terms of how we wrapped up in terms of academic performance. I'll just highlight a couple things. 75.5% of our middle schoolers were either A or B honor roll students, which is obviously fabulous. High school-wise, 55.5% were either A or B honor roll students, 26 combined earning a 4.0 GPA for the entire year. So that's just fabulous academic performance. We had 16 seniors recognized at graduation for the Silver Cord program, and that's something that's continuing to grow, getting our kids involved in community service and just encouraging that, which is a great thing. And the final thing on his bottom there is to thank John Linder and Dean Miro for helping hand out diplomas at the senior graduation. So, thank you.
It's fun.
Yeah.
Okay, and then your activities.
I'll go quick on that as well. Mr. Ayler noted some of the things in terms of the baseball team. Obviously, the second team ever that qualified to go to the state tournament did a great job of representing our school. We were fortunate to lose to Southbridge, which was a great pitcher that they have. We lost 1-5. We went back, we battled back against Wabasco. We were down by 2 going into the top of the 7th, scored 4 runs. We got that exhilaration high, and then we lost by 1. But they were very competitive. They never gave up. Good representation of Russian Peterson. Just want to congratulate and thank Coach Ogg and Coach Leah for their great work. The parents, the fans that we had to welcome home when they got back. But it was a stressful season. We spent 3.5 weeks of practicing in the gym, which is not ideal. Numerous cancellations, and they just kind of rolled with the punches. We got some good games in. We had a very successful program. So, last thing I'll note there, Mr. Ayler noted our track athletes that advanced to state. Golf doesn't get enough recognition, so I'll note the 3 there. They do a 2-day section tournament. We had 3 individuals qualified to go to the second day of sections, which were George McNamer, Ethan Atkinson, and Hannah Letterberg. Advanced to the second day, which was held on June 4th. They did not, were not successful in advancing to the state tournament, but still represented RP Golf in a very positive way too. So now we're officially planning for the next year. So entertain any questions you may have. All right, thank you.
Just want to remind everyone to get your superintendent evaluation, which needs to be emailed to John Linder by June 25th. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
With the stipulation that we will have a special meeting on Thursday, June 28th at 5:30 here in the morning. So just make sure you have that marked on your calendars.
Here in the motion.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good work, Chris.
Good day.